Good morning, everyone. As we continue our process about healthy eating, I want to remind you that our goal is to eat as many different vegetables, colors of the rainbow as we can. So this morning, we are going to use Brussels sprouts. We're going to use broccoli, peppers, onions, sweet potato, and spinach, all to make our breakfast. And since I know that this takes a little bit of time, I want to remind you that you can double this and then eat leftovers for the next day. First thing you want to do is you want to take out, you can either use cast iron. I'm going to use the non-stick stainless steel. And one of the things that I like to do is Applegate is a company that does bacon and sausage and other foods that are non-chemical, that don't have nitrates and all that kind of stuff. So typically what I like to do is to take the bacon, and I'm going to take it out of the package and I'm going to cut it with my kitchen shears into small little pieces to start with, because normally you cook it big, right? And then you break it up. So why not break it up? It cooks faster in smaller pieces. And I'm going to do this in order to get some oil in the pan. So it's okay to eat bacon. You just want to make sure that when you are eating foods that are processed, that you try to find things that are the least processed. So there are a lot of companies that you can read about that will talk about Whole30 compliant. I know that there's some salad dressings and stuff, but I recommend you just make your own salad dressing, and we'll talk about that as well this week. This is our pivot peeler. There's a little button on the front. You can push the button and it rotates the handle so that you can peel like an orange, not an orange, like a peach or something that is soft and gentle, or if you just prefer peeling strips of like zucchini, or you can just turn it sideways and peel like you normally do. So I'm just going to peel my sweet potato here. And then if you watched my other video, you'll see that I have used this Rapid Prep mandolin here. Before we made apple slices with it. Today we are going to make French fry size cuts from our sweet potato. And the reason I'm doing that, I realized I didn't turn the stove on. That would help for the bacon to start cooking. The reason I do that is because you want to have consistent size pieces when you're cooking, because then they'll cook all at the same time frame. So just like the bacon cut up into tiny little pieces, I'm going to cut this first into like French fry size, and then I will cut it down even more. Now, you probably also know that different foods will cook at different time frames. So Brussels sprouts will take longer than my peppers. So you want to add them in accordance with how long they take. Now, sweet potatoes usually will take the longest. My husband is very patient, and he just puts it in the pan and he just waits. I am not so patient. Sorry, getting over the flu. I am not so patient, so typically what I do is I take my potatoes and I put them in the microwave for a little bit to get them started with a little bit of water. So we're going to go ahead and, well, before I do that, let me show you again, if you missed my other video. There are dials on the back here, and we're going to turn the top dial to the first slice, which is the French fry slice. The smallest slice is the julienne peel. And then we're going to turn the dial to the number, let's see, I guess 7 is French fry, the 4 is julienne peel. So we're going to do that. And then we're just going to go ahead and stick it in our hopper here. We're going to take our potato. Will it fit? Oh, I don't know. It's really tight. I don't know if it'll scooch down through there. Hang on. I think I should probably cut it. Otherwise, it's going to get stuck. I probably should have used a chef knife. I'm using my julienne peel. Not my julienne. I'm having a hard time. This flu's kicking my butt. This is the Santoku knife, and the Santoku knife has the little air pockets on the side, which are good for when you're cutting things like potatoes or onions that stick to the edge of your knife. Now, you know how hard sweet potatoes are, right? Look at that. Pretty fast, huh? So you just pound down on the handle. Ta-da! Look at that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stick this in a microwave safe bowl. And I'm just going to add a splash of water, and I'm going to microwave it for a couple minutes while my bacon is cooking and getting some oil in the pan. Once the bacon is good, we're going to saute our onions first because we want to sweat our onions. And what that means is to get a little bit of the water out of them. We'll say 4 minutes. That's good. In the meantime, we got lots more things that we need to be chopping up with our Rapid Prep mandolin. I am just going to cut the ends off of the stems off of some Brussels sprouts. Now remember that Carnices is having a tough time today. Vegetables like cabbage and Brussels sprouts have different benefits for your body. And if you haven't considered eating the rainbow, that is what is best for your gut biome. And we've read a lot in the last couple years about how the gut biome is your second brain, and it affects so much of your body. So you really should consider feeding your gut some sauerkraut or kimchi or any type of fermented foods. It's super important for your gut biome. It really is better than any probiotic you could buy over the counter, hands down. The other thing I want you to consider, in addition to eating the rainbow, is making sure that you are mixing things up. So I'm going to challenge you over this month. I'm going to challenge you to try foods that you haven't tried before. I remember the first time I went into the grocery store and I was going to make a mango cucumber salsa to go with a fish dish, and it had a jicama in it, and I didn't know what that was, and it's a Mexican food, and it spelled with a J, and I went into the store asking for a jamaca. I'm like, do you know what a jamaca is? I had to show the guy, and he was like, oh, a jicama over here. So that is, in my opinion, is very similar to water chestnuts, where it doesn't really have very much flavor, but it takes on the crunch and flavor of whatever you put it in, which is really fun. So also, when you buy your food in whole form, you don't have to worry about the extra preservatives or how they process it. Plus, you're saving a lot of money. It doesn't cost as much when you buy it and you cut it up yourself. And like, what does this take? Just a couple seconds to do this yourself. That's my compost. Let's get our stuff going here. Let's get our bacon cooking. I'm going to break it apart a little bit. So we'll get that cranking. I'll add another 30 seconds to that. Okay, so let's talk about knife skills. We're going to do a little knife skills class here because it's important to know how to hold your knife and what to do when you're cutting, etc. So the first thing you want to do is you want to choke up on the shaft of it, and you want to put your hand up to the blade, and you want to pinch. I always say use your loser fingers so you don't lose a finger, and pinch here. You're going to cut, you can either cut the top off your pepper like this. I prefer, honestly, to cut the pepper the long way and to break it open. And then you can get your fingers inside and just pull out the top of the seed ball. Now, Pampered Chef did come out with a pepper core, and I just don't have that right here. It's down in my kit, so, I'll do what I've always done. So we're going to use about half a pepper. Um, Actually, I might make it more. I might use the whole pepper so that we can have leftovers. And I'm going to make this kind of chunky because the peppers cook faster. So you don't want them as small as the other ingredients because otherwise they'll be slimy. So I'm going to do them in like 1-inch big chunks. So we're going to add some protein to this now, of course, there's protein in vegetables like spinach, etc. But we're going to add eggs to this breakfast because I love eggs, and it's a complete protein there where you're getting, what your body needs to start the day. All right, let's see how our sweet potatoes are doing. Oh, that looks great. So I just microwaved them a couple of minutes. That helps them get going. And I'm going to cook the bacon completely before I begin the rest of the items. Keep thinking I've kicked this and it's not over yet. Okay, so how to cut an onion. Important tip. First of all, you want to hold your onion as if you're holding a bridge with your hands like this. And you want to put the knife in the center so that you do not let it slip and cut yourself. So you also want to cut from the root to the tip. You're going to cut in this direction. So we do that. And I typically take my onion and I run it under water immediately. I think it helps so that you don't cry as much, but who knows. Then I'm just going to go ahead and cut just the end off. And when I do that, I am going to then keep the root section attached. And I am going to dice up this onion with the root section attached, which will help it to stay together while I am dicing, which makes it really easy. So you just make little strips and then you make cuts. And that's all you need to do. I think I'll do the whole onion too. Again, I'm doing this because I don't want to have to cook tomorrow morning. Cook once, eat twice. Isn't that what we want to do? And remember what I said the other day, it doesn't have to be a breakfast food or a lunch food or a snack food. You eat to sustain your body. So if you're a person that really likes crunchy foods, then I recommend that you slice up some carrots and celery and have that available. Have some peanut butter or sun butter or almond butter or whatever it is that you like to eat. Whole30, you're not supposed to eat peanut butter. I eat peanut butter because I do not like almond butter. I don't know. It makes my stomach hurt. But the purpose of Whole30, let me just tell you a little bit about that. You don't have to do that to eat healthy, but a couple of years ago, a lot of years ago, let's see, almost 10 years ago, my husband and I did this in order to reduce inflammation in our body. And what it is for 30 days, and it's only 30 days, so anybody can do something for 30 days, right? For 30 days, you eliminate from your diet all the things that create inflammation in your body, which again causes cancer, causes arthritis, causes all kinds of autoimmune issues. Inflammation is our enemy. So what you do is you remove grains, beans, all sugars. So no honey, no maple syrup, doesn't matter if it's natural, no added sugar of any kind, no alcohol, no dairy. So basically what you're eating is fruit, vegetables, and proteins. And one of the things that's important to know, and I think that what I learned the most when I was doing this before, was how many ingredients add sugar. Like Why buying stewed tomatoes or canned tomatoes does there need to be sugar in it? There doesn't, but they put it in there anyway. So you have to read the labels. The yellow canned tomatoes, those are just tomatoes and salt. And the rule with Whole30 is if you can't pronounce it, then you can't eat it. It's not an ingredient that is natural. So it's whole foods for 30 days. That is the game plan. So you can buy beef, or you can buy buffalo, you can buy chicken, fish, whatever it is that you like for your proteins. But you want to be looking at the ingredient list. And as I said, there are some companies like Applegate who have are known to have foods that are not chemicaled. They don't have nitrates in them, and it'll say right on it. But again, you have to read because they hide different chemicals and they hide sugars in so many different items. Okay, so now we have our bacon fat, and we're going to go ahead and put our onions in as I fling onions over my kitchen. Nothing better than bacon fat, right? Always tastes so good. So I'm going to get that going. I'm going to cook that for just a couple minutes. Then we're going to go ahead and add the sweet potatoes, the Brussels sprouts, and broccoli. Let those cook for a little bit. And then in the end, we're going to go ahead and add our peppers. We're going to let that cook for a while. And then I'll finish it off by adding maybe some chipotle rub. Or I think I'm out of chipotle, but this happens to be a new favorite. This is called crunchy garlic. It's got a kick to it. It must have some cayenne or something in it. It definitely a hot pepper, and it's got some really good kick to it. And this is a fun breakfast one as well. So I won't keep you on. At the very end, before I serve it, I'm going to throw a handful of spinach on top. I'll take a picture and put it in the comment section below so you can see what my breakfast looks like. And I hope you guys will tune in. If you like this series and you want a link to my table pop-up party, which will have all these videos plus a bunch of recipes for you, just comment link below and I'll message you the link and get you into the party. Okay? I hope you guys have a great new year. Take care.